Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to round 4 of the League That Means Nothing 4. I am your voice of the league, Ian Holland, and I am joined by special guest John Lupine Fiasco Cooper. How are you, John?
I'm doing great, Ian. How are you?
I am hungover, but other than that, I'm good because we're here down at table 10 today to call a interesting game. Lesser represented heroes. I know you're very familiar with Assassin. You've been playing a lot of Slippy, so Uzuri's basically the same thing, right?
Yeah, like you see the Hunter's Claves, you see Flick Knives, like that's practically the same hero.
Absolutely, and I'm very familiar with Ranger. I played a lot of Lexi, some Azalea. I've been playing a lot of Riptide recently, so surely I'll be able to figure out how Marlynn works.
Got a bow, she shoots arrows. It's the same thing.
Exactly. Now, I would imagine that the overpower on Marlynn is going to be a bit of a problem into Uzuri. Assassins tend to play a lot of reactions, both attack and defense reactions. So trying to find that evasive damage is going to be a bit tricky for Marlynn. With Uzuri, well, you're happy to just block 2 cards and be like, here's a stealth attack. I wonder what the other card in my hand is.
Yeah, it presents an interesting problem for Marlynn where Harpoon Marlynn, Cannon Marlynn really needs to keep multiple cards in hand. Depending on the gold, she needs 3 cards to, get a card in the arsenal, activate the harpoon, activate the cannon, and then fire. And if Uzuri is stripping a card every turn, that's going to be hard, especially if Marlynn's trying to do the traditional block 6 into whatever Uzuri's stealth attack is.
Yeah, especially.
I could see Marlynn having a problem or just needing to take damage to deal damage.
Yeah, especially with Uzuri having access to Isolate, which is a stealth card you probably have not played. Possibly played against, but never put in a deck. It just is a stealth card with Dominate.
Mm-hmm.
And then Uzuri can be like, oh, surprise, actually inside this pinata was a CNC or a shakedown or Bonds of Agony, and Uzuri was my first reaction of the game.
Speaking of reactions, cards that I don't play in Slippy that I'm excited to see Uzuri play, we see Starting Point over on Uzuri's boot equipment slot, which would say that Uzuri does get to play the Isolate, react a 2 for 6 onto the combat chain, and then because she has activated an attack reaction, break Starting Point to give that CNC or Shakedown go again and follow up with something even worse. So really excited.
Codex of Frailty, baby.
Exactly. How does that turn play out for Uzuri?
Well, there's only one way to find out, so we'll just throw it over to the gameplay.
This game, The League That Means Nothing, is brought to you by the Sigillit Games, a freshly opened game shop coming out of Teignmouth in Devon in the United Kingdom. Specialising, of course, in Flesh and Blood, but also some other bits as well, like Warlord and War Machine as well. So make sure you go and check them out on Facebook. That's the Sigillit Games, or the sigillitgames.co.uk.
All right. Okay, this looks like an interesting one here. I have to say, Simon, I love your playmat, but your placement of your Hunter's Claves makes me think you have something against my own sanity.
I personally would love to see Uzuri on the left side of the Claves. That's how I set up my Slippy when I present this setup. Assaulting your sanity and also assaulting his own hero.
Yeah, just stabbing yourself in the leg here. But we do have some fabulous marbles in play. There's a Golden Tip blocking this Hunter's Clave into another Hunter's Clave. Simon obviously really wants this mark.
Yeah, I wonder if Simon is considering fatigue here at all, just trading 0 cards from deck for 2 cards from Anthony's deck. Seeing that Shelter of the Storm pitched is interesting. If Simon doesn't have another defense reaction, it's always nice to really be able to use that opening hand when you go first to tuck a defense reaction, a playable card.
There's a good chance as well that a stealth card, such as an Isolate, was tucked in to the arsenal so that you can use 3 cards from your hand defensively and then swap something with Uzuri.
I just don't know Marlynn well enough. I wonder if who won the die roll here and who chose to go first. Like maybe Marlynn did want to go first to tuck Harpoon in turn
Maybe.
0 and then have that 3 card set up now for Cannon.
It's a tough one here for Marlon as well. Obviously, starting with Crown of Dominion because you need that goal to get started. But giving up Command and Conquer into Assassin is, or sorry, not Command and Conquer, Crown of Providence to prevent the first Command and Conquer. But the classic is, as someone who's played quite a bit against Uzuri, in different levels of events, a lot of the time when you're the aggressor into the deck, you just sort of look at your hand and go, well, is there anything here that really badly disrupts me? If not, I'm not going to block. But here we go, Seafloor Salvage, flipping that Codex of Frailty face down, making possibly one of the more expensive gold tokens that you'll see someone make in a game. Not as much anymore, thanks to the reprint in High Seas, but still. And immediately cracking a gold to generate a Marlin trigger.
Be interested to see what Anthony ends up loading here. We've got a blue Infecting Shot. Notably, Sealy Sarong does require a flip, so Anthony cannot use the Sarong to give this Infecting Shot go again. So I wonder if there's going to be some pumps over the top to buff the power of this Infecting Shot, or if this is going to be a nice little 2-card 3.
You could see the potential activation of Hammerhead as well, but that would require the entire hand. Hammerhead giving the +4 obviously doesn't give the overpower on non-harpoons.
Could also break the second gold here, fish for something more impactful, generate 2 floating resources, be able to pitch a blue to activate the Hammerhead and fire the Infecting Shot, keep 1 card for the arsenal. But
Here we
that
go.
is very expensive this early.
Yeah. Cannon activation. And, pitching a 3 of a kind. So here we have an Infecting Shot for a casual 7, a nice 4-card 7.
Hey, let's give it some credit. If it hits, it is a 4-card 9. And that's
You're
almost,
so right.
if you imagine a 3-card 9 instead, then that's still below rate.
Yeah, someone call Michael Hamilton. Get him to punch the numbers on this one. I know we have a third commentator. It's just sitting behind you there. Seems very interesting.
To leave the room. He does not want to be in this room right now.
So,
but often I'm at my best flesh and blood gameplay when I also don't want to be in the room. So he's already giving very good insight, noting that Simon did in fact have 2 defense reactions in the opening hand, which is why he would pitch a shelter to Clave and then arsenal another shelter, getting a sink below from hand too. I do wonder if seeing 3 of probably 6 defense reactions this early is going to come back to bite him later.
And here we have functionally just a brutal assault here. Command and Conquer bottom text, because there is nothing here for Simon to blow up. Anthony playing around that by not having a card in Arsenal.
Just as he drew it up, I'm sure.
Obviously.
To quote you, very expensive brutal assault, pitching a surgical extraction to play a Command and Conquer. Arsenal's a card, sets up that 5-card hand for the upcoming turn. On Marlyn's side, we have the same problem as the last turn, which is we don't currently have an arrow in the arsenal, meaning that Anthony will need to find a way to get one there, activating Marlyn to destroy the gold and generate a harpoon. Wonder if we're going to see a golden tipple follow-up.
We are not just a golden tipple, but a triple Donny.
Making 2 gold, drawing a card, getting that Marlyn trigger. This is easily the coolest line that Marlyn has.
Yeah.
Activating Marlyn, destroying a gold, making a harpoon, and then immediately discarding that harpoon to golden tipple to replace the gold and even draw a card is very cool.
I'm starting to feel like I might be too poor to be commentating this game. There's a lot of funds on display right now to start this. And here we have 3 of a kind.
3 of a kind being played, will draw 3 cards. Without New Horizon for Anthony, he will only get to load one arrow. So the best way that this could be used is load a harpoon,
Bang.
pitch a couple blues. Oh, and that is quite the harpoon to load. A King Shark harpoon presumably has the resources to activate Hammerhead and then fire off that harpoon for 10 to overpower.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if not.
Without any sort of front pumps played before the Three of a Kind. Now too late to play any front pumps because Three of a Kind does prevent Anthony from playing cards from hand for the rest of his turn.
Yeah, this is functionally just as good as it was in Lexi.
There we have 2 blues being pitched to activate the Hammerhead. We'll have the King Shark Harpoon attacking for 10 with Overpower, and then Anthony will get to arsenal a card this turn, hopefully setting up for an easier Harpoon on the next turn.
I love the little edit here from Az there. Just Overpower.
I do want to point out, Metal Fab Tokens does sell Overpower tokens that you can use, put on your King Shark Harpoons, or any of your Overpower attacks.
John, which
Head over
Flesh
to
and Blood?
Metal Fab Tokens.
Which Flesh and Blood team are you on?
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm just, for all of our Marlynn Victor players out there, call it a public service.
Sure. I didn't bring you here so you could shill. The shilling is bonus.
You brought me here to commentate this game, which, on Simon's side, having to decide, one, if he can even block the Overpower. As you noted, Assassin plays a lot of attack reactions. Overpower only says you can't block with more than one action from hand, so could definitely cover up the full 10 here, or could at least get rid of some attacks from hand and attack so that maybe King Shark Harpoon doesn't have anything to take. But then the problem is if he has no attacks, then what is he doing? Pitching 2 reds for a Clave?
Okay, we've got Pain in the Backside, T-Tox, and Crown of Providence blocked.
Blocking for 7 currently. No Crown trigger here.
And there's the sync below.
So that is 4 defense reactions out of the way. 3 have been played. Simon pitched 1 at the start of this game. So only 2 defense reactions left in deck if he's only playing the Sink and Shelter. And with a 2-card hand, Uzuri can still present 6 damage.
Disruption.
We don't know what it is, and potential disruption. And if we've got that Isolate coming down, as you pointed out, then Anthony might not even be able to block it.
Yeah, one of the other things to always note about Uzuri, if you're playing against one, is they are well versed in doing this kind of 2-card trades. They're very happy to just send 2 cards at you, block with a couple cards, send 2 cards, block. And if you get into that loop and that game, they're going to outvalue you in the long run because the deck is designed to do that. And as you said at the start, Marlynn kind of wants a lot more cards. Something here like a Shakedown could be devastating. And the best part about all of this for Simon is if Anthony decides to just overblock, he just doesn't have to do anything. He can just be like, okay, that's going to my arsenal. Block with 3 cards, pitch, send it next turn.
Yeah, that's a great point. Here we've got the Mark of the Black Widow. It's only 1 power, but if Anthony decides to call Simon's bluff and say no blocks, Simon does have the option to activate Flick Knives, throw a Hunter's Clave, mark Anthony, and then Mark of the Black Widow is now active. So Anthony will get to choose what card he banishes from hand, but with Marlynn wanting to keep as large of a hand as possible, even that 1 card might not be something he wants to give up. So it's real damned if you do, damned if you don't position. If he blocks for 0, he loses a card. If he blocks for 2, then there might not be a follow-up reaction, and he lost 2 cards for nothing. This is assassin gameplay at its finest. The real, what do you think I have, and how are you going to deal with it?
Yeah, especially with Hammerhead, you really need as many resources as possible at all times. And here we have the Uzuri activation. And look at that, it's a Death Touch.
Got a Death Touch. Probably, honestly, if Anthony is trying to race Simon here, then this could be the best possible option. Death Touch with a Blood Rod Pox token only represents 8 damage, but no disruption, which if he can convert this 5-card hand offensively, is going to result in much more damage than, my mistake, 6
It
with
looks
an
like,
inertia token.
yeah, an inertia is an interesting choice because with Sile Sarong, you're incentivized to have cards in your arsenal at the
Mhm.
start of turn to activate. Sarong is, to me, is such an interesting piece of equipment in that it, on the face of it, seems very good. It's just not right where we're at now in terms of the game, but feels like it has space to become much better as the game grows and as we see more Rangers, as we see better blue arrows as well.
Definitely a later game card in this matchup as Anthony's deck cycles down to just the blues, but it is nice that it lets him convert some of these junkier all blue hands into 2 arrows that maybe start taking cards away from Simon. In this situation, if he does have the blue arrow in arsenal, then the Sarong is going to let him convert a 5-card hand, with hopefully not keeping any cards left over that get bottomed to that inertia.
And here we have, oh, look at that. We do, in fact, have a blue arrow. It is a, what's it? The red harpoon, I believe. The blue red harpoon.
It does something with reds. We noted at the start of this game that you are an avid Ranger player, so I will absolutely defer to you on the names of all of these cards.
I'm not the one who drafted this set at the Pro Tour.
That's fair. I did draft Marlynn once or twice.
Just put you in a box there, John.
You know
Sorry.
what? You know what?
Right in the body bag.
What? I'll give it to you.
No, so we're now starting to present some disruption for Marlyn. I imagine Anthony deciding whether we want to go in on the harpoon activation here, or we could just send Conqueror of the High Seas.
I love this. So we've got Conqueror of the High Seas coming in for 8 go again. Not threatening an arsenal. Simon does not have one, but 4 for 8 go again. Floating those 2 resources is very strong. If Anthony has another blue in hand with that tunic up, then he would be able to now activate Hammerhead and fire the red fin for 8 overpower.
Look at that, you know the name.
To try to cheat resources. I've played Marlyn once or twice.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what the plan is here, because we could be also sending this with Go Again and have some other use for this last card in hand.
At this point, I don't believe Anthony has played a 0-cost arrow, so this last card being Codex of Frailty wouldn't really result in anything impactful.
We have played a single 1-cost arrow, though, so here we have, so this is coming in here for 4 with the red fin harpoon.
So, because this does not have overpower, there has not been a Hammerhead activation. Simon will need to reveal a card, but he'll get to choose what it is, showing a blue Mark of the Black Widow that he will then not need to discard. So this red fin was just 4 go again. But it does give Anthony 1 more card in hand. We'll see if he can actually use it, or if he will just be losing it to the inertia.
All right. Closing out the combat chain here.
Do we see a Codex of Frailty? We do not.
Anthony forgetting his very important untap step in A-Pud. Arsenal, pitch, untap, draw.
No, that's the wrong won't matter next turn. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was that one is seared into my brain thanks to Sam O'Byrne.
A-Pud.
Yeah, now you'll remember it too. I
frequently play heroes that untap, so yes, you're right.
That's the best part. It will have absolutely 0 relevance to you, and you'll still remember it. But here we have Clave, and Anthony is marked for the first time this game.
Now, compared to Slippy, I don't believe that Uzuri has as much use for the mark as a Slippy or a Marionette I don't believe she's playing Take Up the Mantle, but we have seen Mark of the Black Widow, so this could represent some sort of disruption that Anthony does need to care about.
Or we're just sending in.
See just a Leave No Witnesses. Anthony does not have an arsenal, so this is only threatening 4, a card from the top of the deck. Simon doesn't have any of the silver equipment that he'd be able to buy back, but we do still have the Flick Knife starting point line to give this go again. If Simon had a follow-up, maybe a Codex.
Which is exactly what we're seeing here by the looks of things. It's almost like you drew it up that way, John. I'm impressed.
Uzuri to Slippy really just translates 1-to-1, right?
Absolutely,
Knives,
basically the same thing.
Clave. Yep. No, I know. I could pilot this deck 100%. Leave No Witnesses connect. Banishes a blue off the top. No silver is generated.
I'm not overly surprised. And this is our Codex of Frailty. So now we're going to force some action here on Anthony's side of things, because you don't have a choice but to get an arrow back, discard a card, and then you'll be getting Command and Conquered as well. So you might be losing that arrow that you get back.
The 2 floating resources here are absolutely brutal for Anthony. Leave No Witnesses could have just been covered by Gold-Baited Hook and a 3-block from hand, and then Anthony does have the potential to keep 2 blues and get that King Shark Harpoon back from the Codex, but the fact that this is Command and Conquer means that Anthony needs to give 2 cards here to protect a Harpoon in Arsenal, and then he could always gamble, pitch the blue into gold, rip another blue, activate Hammerhead, and that line doesn't work, just end his turn. The Command and Conquer here is pretty brutal.
There's a lot of times that I've watched people go, I'll just draw some cards to fix my hand, and their hand gets actively worse. Because you draw a couple and you're like, oh, we're getting there. Do I stick here where we're good? But they often say that 90% of gamblers quit before they hit it big.
Keep digging.
Just keep drawing cards. What's the worst that could happen?
Surely you have the second gold draws a card that is useful.
Either that or, I don't know, you have just exhausted your only additional resource in the game and you've had to pass.
I'm sure it's fine.
Could never happen.
Anthony blocking with Sea Lace Wrong, Gold-Bladed Hook, and a 3-block from hand.
A Widowmaker.
We'll get to keep 2 cards to pay for the Conqueror of the High Seas. I assume 2 blues to get the Conqueror active, which will threaten Simon's arsenal, as the Ponder is going to give him a card to put into the arsenal.
I've just
loading resources.
Had completely forgotten that Sea Lace Sarong blocks for 2.
That card's pretty good.
I'm like, why does this Sarong block 2? Same way, why does Zen's Cloth block 2?
My favorite is Max's Puffy Jacket blocking for 3.
You're so right. Listen, we don't know what's in there. Metrics is on some.
It's not the Puffy Jacket that's doing the blocking. It's Max's guns, right? The sword hits his python and just bounces off.
Here we go. Conqueror of the High Seas buffed up by a Premeditate. The thing everyone always forgets, Premeditate does not care about being an arrow. It's just you're so used to seeing it in a Ranger, but it just cares about buffing cards from Arsenal, and any attack that hits would make a Ponder.
So we do have that Conqueror coming in for 9, which is cleanly blocked by 3 blocks from hand. The Premeditate buffed it up to 10. The Frailty brought it back down to 9. But a really great use of the Tunic there, and the first Tunic activation we've seen this game.
Just being very patient with it, always really important. Because it depends on the deck. Something like Aurora, for example, you were very happy to try and use your Tunic resource as many times as possible to get as much extract maximum value because you were playing a number of quite large turns.
Mhm.
But in something like Uzuri and Marlynn, you're looking to spike tall, and when you're doing that, you need all the resources you have access to.
Yeah, the tunic helping you pay for, at least in Uzuri, a line like Pitch Blue for Dagger into Codex into CNC is always really nice. For Marlin, we're seeing that really clean cost curve of pitch 2 blues to Hammerhead and then spend the 2 resources for a Harpoon. So getting the ability to use that tunic to cleanly play it for a turn is a little harder. Here,
Bang.
blocking a Hunter's Clave for 1 with return fire for 4, getting the return fire trigger, but that is some lost value on Anthony's side of the board.
It is, but this is one of my favorite cards to play from High Seas. Just 4 block. It's a 0 for 7. It's busted.
Very, very good card.
It also
Banishing a King Kraken Harpoon for the next turn.
Yeah, it also helps you avoid any disruption from hand if you only have the one attack, because now your attack is over. But yes, very strange to see that when we knew this Graphene Calicera was going to be coming in for 4.
Anthony not wanting to start his turn marked. And I have to tell you, I don't know enough about Uzuri to know what the threat is of being marked. We've seen Mark of the Black Widow. We do see a Take Up the Mantle in pitch, which would have let Simon flip a stealth attack into a different stealth attack from Graveyard. But so far, I think the only stealth attacks we've seen are blue Black Widows.
Oh, yeah. Does it allow you to turn that Graphene Calicera into an attack?
No, Take Up can only be used on attack action cards.
Oh, that makes sense.
Speaking of the Calicera, we talked at the beginning of the game about how tilted we were at Uzuri's placement on the mat, and I'm more tilted now.
Excellent. Simon, congratulations. You're making it worse.
Swap the Uzuri and the Clave, and then it's beautiful. It makes so much more sense.
Why would you be stabbing yourself in the leg and just leaving your other knife over there?
It doesn't make sense to me. Anthony pitching a Plague Hive to attack with this King Kraken Harpoon for 7.
Giving
Plague
an
Hive
inertia.
generates an inertia. That's what do you think as far as the role here?
Well, it's literally not the one I would ever want.
Really, you would take Blood Rot here if you could?
I think that or Frailty, just switch the daggers off, because Uzuri doesn't usually convert a 4-card hand pretty well. So if, for whatever reason, Simon chose to take this, just turning off the Clave and the Calicera. But we'll have to see. No cannon activation either.
So again, this King Kraken Harpoon, if it hits, will give Simon the ability to reveal any card that he wants from hand. King Kraken's discard is only on non-attack actions, which Assassin doesn't run a lot of anyway, but if Simon's holding something like a stealth attack and an Orb Weaver Spinneret or a Codex of Frailty, he does now have the option to reveal the non-attack action, but cleanly covers up the King Kraken Harpoon with a block and a sink below, keeping 2 cards for his turn.
What I'm looking forward to seeing is Simon going to flip that Graphene Calicera into an attack? Because that is a line that is technically available to Uzuri.
We have a Codex of Frailty being played. Simon is holding a card here, so will need to discard that to the Codex of Frailty. Probably, I'm assuming a red, because he would not set T-Tox, so was not able to pitch that to a Hunter's Clave. And without Slippy's hero text, the Calicera would not have go again.
Absolutely. It happens. I've seen it happen a few times where people just... There is a cost to all of these powerful attack reactions, and that is sometimes you end up with a hand like that, where you just cannot extract full value out of them.
So attacking with Leave No Witnesses for 4 here. Anthony blocking for 6 with a Portside Exchange and a Sunken Treasure. So we're going to see what he banishes.
Marble Codex.
flipping the Marvel Codex, making a third gold now. Anthony with quite a stockpile over there. We're going to see if
Haven't really seen a lot of use of it yet, but
he had the 2 activations early and then nothing from that. Simon ordering his triggers so that inertia goes before the ponder, is not punished by the inertia, does get to keep a 5-card hand. And we'll see how Anthony's going to respond with his 3-card hand.
yeah. I imagine this is the kind of hand that you're happy enough to have with Marlynn. If that's a harpoon in your arsenal, a blue and a red, or 2 blues will get you there.
Without the sarong, the blue arrow in Arsenal doesn't have go again. It is just whatever its printed value is. But like you noted, you can still activate a hammerhead on something like a blue infecting shot or a Widowmaker. It just won't have the overpower, but it will get the +4 and allow for a clean conversion of 3 cards.
Absolutely. And, we've blocked out here, so we know we should have a good plan coming into this turn what we're going to do with these cards. Portside exchange, playing a big game trophy shot. So next arrow attack gets +4. If it's a harpoon, on hit you make it gold, but we now draw and discard.
So allowing for the Marlynn trigger to put a Redfin harpoon into the arsenal. Discarding a card with only 1 resource floating. Anthony cannot play the Redfin harpoon.
Not ideal.
So we'll just pass the turn.
Yeah, otherwise that big game trophy shot would have been pretty hard stuck in Arsenal, I think. It being a 2 cost is so brutal.
Being a 2 cost is brutal. The harpoon being a 2 cost is brutal.
Doing a small rewind, Anthony realizing I can just make a harpoon and discard that instead.
That is a much better use of his resources here. Now going to be able to at least play the harpoon from Arsenal. Should not be able to activate the hammerhead, and that's what we see. So coming in for 8 with the Redfin harpoon, but because we haven't activated that cannon, if it does not have overpower, and if it hits, Simon will get to choose what he reveals to the Redfin harpoon.
Yeah, but we do have 8 with an on-hit. 2 on-hits, in fact. There is gold on-hit as well.
There is gold on-hit. That's a great point.
I am loving, because we're out here on Go Again Gaming, home of the Azalea cult, it's really nice to see a couple of Azalea playmats as well. The Judge, Jury, Executioner, and that very special League That Means Nothing 3 playmat that we all received in London.
League That Means Nothing playmat is beautiful.
Yes, I believe you got yours as well as for your part-time casting gigs over here.
I did get mine. No, I'm very thankful for it. Grateful. I'm very honored to have it. I'll also say that the Judge, Jury, Executioner map that Anthony's using, I still think that that's easily top 3 play mats overall that LSS has ever made.
That art is incredible. Mm-hmm. Thinking of that, I really want, the new red and white pummel. I want that as a playmat.
That would be good. That's a good one.
Here we go. Up sticks and run into a clave for 5.
Sticks and run showing us that 0 for 4 go again. Still good.
Never stopped being good in Flesh and Blood. Who knew?
Even an assassin. A great card. Now, what we could have seen here, depending on Simon's hand configuration, is attacking with the Hunter's Clave for 1 go again, flicking the Calicera, then using up sticks to buy back his second Clave. But choosing not to do that. So maybe he has a follow-up stealth attack into Uzuri flip. Maybe he has a follow-up Codex line. Tunic currently down.
Yeah, one of the things as well, like I said earlier, is that Calicera is a stealth attack. So it can be triggered with Uzuri.
I don't know what happens. To see that line this game. I mean, the floating resource here could just represent Calicera for 1 and then Uzuri flip into a shakedown, which we haven't seen any yet, or one of the remaining Command and Conquers in the deck, and then this Arsenal just sits for another turn. We do know there are 2 defense reactions left that Simon could find, and maybe that's one of them.
There's also the knowledge that Anthony has to deal with now. If this clave hits, Simon can just send that Callister for free.
Mhm.
Pay 1. It has Go Again. It's just another little needle.
I believe I'm trying to now rack my addled brain for something we just saw 3 minutes ago, which is I believe Simon is holding a Command and Conquer because that's what he revealed to the well, if it was a redfin harpoon, I don't remember what
He
he
revealed
revealed.
he revealed a surgical extraction, actually.
A surgical extraction, which he then just pitched. So
Yeah.
I don't know what this card in hand is.
Good job.
I'm a good caster. That's what they pay me for.
I'm really glad I brought you on. Here we go. We're doing the thing.
You called it?
Like, to me, this is one of the coolest lines that the deck has access to now.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to say, like, oh yeah, my knife, take this. I don't know what happens to it. Does it just go away? Does
It
it
does go
actually
away.
go to the deck? But yes, it is a Command and Conquer.
So when a token disappears from the arena, it just goes away. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
And so it will just disappear. Uzuri goes down to a single clave, but we do have the graphene flip into a Command and Conquer. So despite me being wrong, I was right. He did have a Command and Conquer in hand.
I'm wondering how much
It's my prowess as an assassin player where I just
how
knew.
much dead air
Right?
can I give that last joke?
I had the read that I knew what it was. It's
Yeah.
called skill, Ian, and it's something you should learn about.
In your heart of hearts, you knew as an assassin player you would only make this line if you had exactly
It
Command and Conquer.
has to be Command and Conquer.
It's funny, in the amount of arsenal disruption we've seen sent around in this game, not a single one of them has ever blown up an arsenal.
No. I don't know that we've seen a Command and Conquer. Aside from Simon's Codex turn, I think CNC has only ever been Brutal Assault.
Yeah.
Anthony's
perfectly
first conquer of
on-rate
the High
card.
Seas was not active. The second one was. The second one got some blocks, but yeah, we have yet to see an arsenal actually get destroyed.
Here's a King Shark Harpoon, though. No overpower, but we're just going to block out with a Death Touch, Kiss of Death, and Tunic. Simon obviously feeling comfortably ahead here in order to give up Tunic.
Also makes me think that Simon is probably holding a handful of attacks here. If he is that interested in stopping the King Shark Harpoon from hitting, the effect is probably relevant. We'll see what Simon now does with his 3-card hand, still sitting on this arsenal. The fact that Simon gave up a Spring Tunic rather than play a defense reaction makes me think that he did not have the defense reaction in arsenal. Instead, we have a Persuasive Prognosis coming in for 4. No Go Again, no cards in hand. This doesn't represent an Uzuri flip. This is just Prognosis with its same text that
but for
everyone
4.
loves.
I will say, I have a deep love of this card because fellow league that means nothing participant and local of mine, Indigo, has missed hitting me with this card more than any other card I think she's ever played. Attacking me on Zen, flipping a blue with a persuasive, looking at a hand of reds and yellows, flipping a yellow in Zen against me. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I love this card.
I think my favorite Prognosis line was getting hit by it, flipping a blue in my Jarl deck, and then revealing 4 reds. Like, this is the only reason that a Guardian would ever be happy to have 4 reds.
Yeah. You're like, I drew a Guardian hand, and they attack you with Prognosis, and you're like, oh, I drew a Guardian hand.
It's the return of your favorite card being played by Anthony. Return Fire here. Cleanly blocking the 4 from Persuasive.
This, again, some fantastic art.
What a blowout. Not only Return Fire not having a trigger because Anthony has an arsenal, but also setting him up to get hit by Justinic, played by Simon from Arsenal, getting +5 over the top of that Return Fire.
Yeah, there's our red for Justinic.
Trigger.
There's our blue for
blue. See what Anthony has in hand.
What you're working with. Show us your secrets. A red, a yellow, and a blue.
Okay, so we're going to be losing Tip the Barkeep. Gaining Simon 3 life up to 23 to Anthony's 6. From Anthony's side, we do still have 2 gold on the board. He can activate Marlynn, generate a gold harpoon, pitch the yellow, play Tipple, make a gold, draw a card. So certainly not
See
out
where
of
we
it
go
here.
from there.
Still has a turn, but looking a little grim. 6 life to 23.
This is not looking heavily in Anthony's favor. Let's not count him out, because I don't really know what Marlyn does and does not do. Uzuri, I know what it does. It does like incredibly medium things.
I don't know. So far, I have not seen a lot of the 2-card 6s that I'm used to from Uzuri. I've seen more impactful turns than that. The Calicera flip into CNC was fantastic, but outside of that, we've just seen a Death Touch, and I think that was it. That was the only actual stealth attack action that got turned into something else.
Yeah, Simon has been very good at enforcing his game on this whole situation.
Mm-hmm. We've got the pitch of Big Game Trophy Shot to play the Golden Tipple, 3 go again, discarding Goldfin Harpoon, drawing a card, making a gold. Anthony with 1 resource floating, card in hand, card in arsenal. Let's see what he can do with that. Pitches a blue.
Drawing another card.
Mm-hmm.
This should...
2 resources floating.
I imagine we're looking for a way to activate the cannon plus fire and arrow.
A blue off the top would do it if this card in arsenal is a 1-cost arrow. Another blue could result in another pitch to gold. Sorry, he would just draw an extra card here with the 2 floating resources.
Here we go with the first activation of the hook. So strange to me seeing it, because as someone who's played with and against Gravy Bones a lot, you activate it every turn.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that this is the first activation, that's a great point. This is pretty wild. We do have the 2 floating resources being spent on the gold token here to draw a new card, pitching 2 reds in order to play out a card from Arsenal here. So 2 reds being pitched into this King Shark Harpoon, active gold-baited hook. If this hits, it will generate a gold for Anthony. Simon will reveal a card from hand. This isn't overpowered. There's no hammerhead activation. Simon gets to pick the card, choosing a Savor Bloodshed. It will not be discarded, but Anthony makes the gold from gold-baited hook.
That's not too bad. Kind of like we've dealt some amount of damage, but we're really not in a good spot here if you're Marlyn.
The 2 reds off the top is not what he was looking for.
The other thing as well, very important to remember, life total is a resource. The only point that matters is the last one. And if your opponent is happy to take a pile of damage, you better believe you're trying to close the game out next turn.
See the Savor Bloodshed, which is going to let Simon at least convert 2 cards here. Play the Savor, attack with Clave for 5 go again. Now, if the Clave hits and marks Anthony, then the Graphene Calicera will also have go again and represent a draw trigger. No Savor yet.
So maybe we're saving it for the Calicera, because obviously we can close the combat chain. Place marked now anyway, so we don't even need to worry about flicking the Clave.
No, we'll see if Simon chooses to close the chain here and play out the Savor with that 1 resource floating that is just a clean Graphene attack, with then 2 other cards in hand could just represent Stealth plus Uzuri flip. But the Calicera
looks like we're
just
holding
attacking
on
for 1. Mm-hmm.
Still 20% of Anthony's life total.
This could maybe be... We've seen a Kiss of Death used by Simon for blocks, so maybe it's going to be Savor Kiss for a 2-card 8 if it hits. But without Go Again, there's no way to get the Flick Knives bonus from the Kiss of Death.
Yeah, I think we will be eating a lot of cards away from Anthony, though, if we do that. And like we said, Marlyn needs cards to basically take any game actions.
Mhm.
Here we go. That's a problem.
We just had Tunic being used to block the Graphene Calistera attack. Savor Bloodshed played into Isolate. So the Isolate flip into a 2 for 6 from Uzuri definitely has the ability to deal quite a lot of damage. If Marlynn only blocks 3, then she's taking 3 from a 6. Simon can flick, bring Anthony down to 1. But I wonder about the Savor Bloodshed. I don't know the rules interactions where if Uzuri flips into a Kiss of Death, does the Kiss get +4?
I think the main problem here is that it also allows you to draw a card.
This is true. So we do have Take Up into Kiss of Death. I'm not sure about the rules interaction on this one. So we have Simon is representing that Savor Bloodshed does trigger on the Kiss of Death.
Yeah.
That was took up into. I gotta say, I'm unfamiliar with that line. I don't know if that actually works.
Thankfully, I don't think it matters all that much because even with just the Take Up the Mantle making it 6, you deal, 3 over?
You would do 3 over +1, and you would be able to flick knives as well to deal.
So it's 5 either
final
way.
Point of damage. Yeah. So ultimately, it doesn't matter. But at least for my own personal benefit, I'm going to have to look into that because I thought that line didn't work. But if it does, that's incredible.
I mean, that was a really strong showing from Uzuri. She might be one of the older assassins in the game, but really showing when you're given the space, she's going to just, if you give an inch, that deck is just going to run a mile. It has a lot of powerful and unique interactions. It's been able to replace a lot of the, I hesitate to say bad, but bad outsider stealth cards with really powerful Majestics from Part the Mistveil and from the Hunted.
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to do things like, even if you don't hit with Kiss of Death, just being able to swap it out for something. And now, late game, you're guaranteed to have a Kiss of Death at some point if you're a pitch stacker, if you know how to track your deck that well. I personally don't. That's why I play aggro decks.
Yeah, I play decks that can shuffle so that I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, all you need to do is go, well, I know there is definitely some of these in my deck somewhere.
I have pitched a relevant card earlier in this game, which means that it's still in my deck somewhere, and someday I'll find it.
Or the game will be over by then. One way or the other, we'll get there. John. So I know you've been playing the game quite a while now at this stage, knowing you as, was it Uprising?
Yeah.
So since Uprising, probably saw some of the older Uzuri builds.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of this new one with a lot of the new tech? Because obviously Assassin is currently the favorite down in development in LSS, depending on who you might ask.
I was really impressed by this Uzuri build. Now, back when Uzuri was the best assassin pre-Mistveil, really stopping her was like just block 6. As a 5 player, it was a little harder to do that. You had to hedge on, if it's Shakedown, I get punished for blocking. If it's Command and Conquer, and I don't have an arsenal, I don't get punished for blocking. As a KO player, it was trivial to stop whatever Uzuri's doing. You had Fleshbag to take the attack from hand that you wanted to flip into, or you could just put a 3 block and 2 pieces of armor in front of an Isolate. But now, with Uzuri having so much trickery as far as it wasn't an Uzuri flip, or it was a take up, or it was an Uzuri flip into starting point, into something else disruptive, it's much harder to anticipate what Uzuri was going to do.
Yeah.
I was frequently wrong in that game as far as predicting Uzuri's line. And that was really cool to see. Like you said, Uzuri got a ton of cool tech from the Hunted in a way that we see Slippy and Marionette doing really gross things with Bonds of Agony. And then potentially talking about maybe, if Bonds of Agony gets banned, maybe these assassins really get hurt by it. But in that Uzuri build, I never saw Bonds. So if Bonds gets banned, then Uzuri comes out with catching no strays from anyone else.
It was really interesting. Obviously, we get to see the thing that I have thought about Marlynn for a while is that there's definitely powerful interactions there. We're just missing a few key pieces to bring it all together. Uzuri looks like it's really come all the way together. So, congratulations to Simon on a win, another win in the League That Means Nothing. And Anthony, obviously, back to the drawing board. We're going to keep working on Marlynn. I know there's a lot of dedicated fans out there who really want to see the deck do well.
Yep.
But that is everything from this episode. So if you enjoyed the gameplay, if you enjoyed seeing these less represented heroes, the new ranger who hasn't had enough time to get representation yet, and an assassin that seems to have kind of been forgotten about because of the power level of current assassins, make sure you like the video, comment down below, tell Az everything you think about the League That Means Nothing, give him all your support because he does so much work editing these videos. Then make sure you also subscribe, which I heard from some content creator is the best free way to support a channel. And
Smash that like button.
There we
Ring
go.
that bell.
That's that YouTuber brain right there. But it will get you all of your notifications for the League That Means Nothing content, which comes out thick and fast. Az puts out a lot of games. And that's why he gets people like us to do all the commentary. So, John, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube. I'm Lupine Fiasco, where if you put Daily Fat Gameplay into the search bar, any of my videos will pop up. On Blue Sky, I have a Discord, I have a Patreon, but YouTube is definitely the place to find me.
It's the best free way to support you. I heard that somewhere. And you can find me talking all sorts of nonsense about Fab and anything else that catches my interest. Findlespirit.bsky.social or Findles_spirit on Twitter, which I don't use anymore very much anyway. But that is everything from this episode and this game. So we will just see you in the next one. Goodbye.